People say machines don't have souls, but the moment the robot dog whispered my name, my real name, the one I hadn't spoken in 15 years, I felt something inside me freeze, like the past had finally caught up. The sun was sinking behind the jagged towers of Nova District, casting long shadows across Galloway Junkyard, a sprawling graveyard of broken drones, shattered android limbs, crushed starship panels, and rusting piles of tech the city had decided no longer mattered. I wasn't supposed to be there. Scavenging without a permit could get you fined, arrested, or worse. But when you've got 1 credit left in your pocket and a landlord threatening eviction, rules stop feeling like rules and start feeling like suggestions. I moved between the heaps, flipping over metal plates and fried circuitry in search of anything I could flip for quick cash. Most of it was junk beyond repair, corroded, melted, or hollowed out by scavengers far more desperate than me. Then I saw it. At first, I thought it was just another piece of obsolete hardware, a robot dog chassis. Small, sleek, covered in dents and scratches. Its once silver plating was caked with mud and soot, one of its legs bent at an impossible angle. A faded serial number ran along its side, K9SNT, standard companion model. Nothing special, nothing worth more than scrap value. But something about it made me pause. Maybe it was the shape, half curled, half collapsed as if it hadn't just broken, but died. Or maybe it was the way the light caught its eye lens, still intact under the dirt. The junkyard owner, a thick-armed man with a voice like gravel, noticed me staring. "That thing," he grunted, "been sitting here for years. Circuits fried, voice module dead, whole AI core scorched through, useless." "How much?" I asked, even though I knew the answer should have been walk away. He spat to the side. "1 credit, kid. If you want a dead dog, take a dead dog. 1 credit, my last credit." My brain screamed no. My instincts whispered, "Don't be stupid." But something deeper, something I couldn't explain, nudged me forward, and so I bought it. I dragged the robot dog back to my apartment, a cramped shoebox on the 8th floor with flickering lights and a view of a brick wall. I set the dog on my work table and got to cleaning it up. Dust came off in thick layers. Internal wiring was a mess, but not hopeless. I'd fixed worse. Night fell. The city lights buzzed. I lost myself in the work unscrewing plates, stabilizing circuits, patching microfractures. After 3 hours, I connected the dog to a low-voltage power cell. Its lens flickered. Once, twice. Then a sound emerged, soft, static-filled, but unmistakably a voice. Elias. My heart nearly stopped. Nobody called me Elias, not anymore. The dog's lens brightened. "Elias," it repeated, clearer this time. "I finally found you." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. The robot dog's voice was faint, distorted, like it was speaking through static. But the shape of the word, the memory it triggered, hit me like a punch. No one alive should know that name. Carefully, I stepped back. How my voice cracked. "How do you know that name?" The dog's head twitched with a series of soft servo clicks. Sparks danced along its damaged neck joints as it tried to lift its head. "Elias," it said again, with something that almost sounded like relief. "You look older." My pulse hammered in my ears. I hadn't heard that name since I was 12, since the day my family disappeared. Since the day the authorities scrubbed every trace of our identities from the system. I'd been Eli Stone ever since, just another anonymous repair tech drifting through the cracks of Nova District. "Tell me who you are," I demanded, trying to keep my voice steady. "What are you? Who sent you?" The dog's eye lens dimmed, flickered, then steadied. "I am Unit K9SNT," it said. "Designation, Sentinel." "I've never seen a Sentinel model," I muttered. "You wouldn't have," the dog replied. "Only 24 were ever made. All assigned to the same project." Its voice glitched on the next word, breaking into a warbled buzz. "Project Helios." My stomach dropped. I hadn't heard that name in even longer. Project Helios wasn't supposed to exist. It was a myth one whispered about in blackout zones. The kind of story people got arrested just for discussing. They said the government once ran a secret program that combined military AI with unknown off-world energy sources. Most believed it was just fringe paranoia, but my family, my parents, they worked on something secret, something they never talked about, something they died for. "Sentinel," I said slowly, "why were you searching for me?" Its mechanical ears lowered, as if mimicking sorrow. "I was assigned to protect you." I froze. "Protect me? Why?" "Because your mother ordered me to." The room tilted. My legs nearly buckled. My legs broke. "My mother left me a message." "Not a message," Sentinel corrected. "A mission." I felt like the air had been sucked out of my lungs. Memories I'd locked away clawed their way back. My mother's hurried whispers. The trembling in her hands the night before everything went dark. The way she hugged me too long. too tightly. What mission? I whispered. Sentinel tried to shift again, circuits whining painfully. Elias, you are not safe. They are searching for you, and they are close. A cold weight settled in my chest. Who? I demanded. Its lens dimmed almost to black. The same people who destroyed Project Helios and your family. My breath caught. Before I could ask more, a sudden sharp metallic ping echoed through my apartment window like the tip of a drone scanner tapping the glass. Sentinel's lens flared bright. They found us. The metallic ping against the window wasn't loud, but it was precise, deliberate, the kind of sound surveillance drones made when they scanned a target from outside. Sentinels, I flared bright red. Elias, move away from the window. Now my body reacted before my brain did. I ducked behind the workbench, heartbeat thundering in my skull. A second ping echoed, this one sharper, like a needle of light tapping the glass. A thin blue scan line swept across the interior of my apartment. Damn, a triscope recon drone. Government grade. What did you do? I hissed. I activated zero transmissions. Sentinel rasped. They were already tracking you. Or tracking me. Great, I muttered. That makes me feel so much better. The scan line brightened and paused. They've locked on, Sentinel whispered. The drone's silhouette shifted outside the window. A pointed arm extended, humming with energy. A cutting beam. They were planning to breach. My mind raced. Cheapest apartment in Nova District meant cheap materials. My windows would melt under that beam in seconds. I had no weapons, no defenses, nothing except scattered tools, a broken robot dog, and panic. Sentinel, can you move? Mobility systems are at 12%, it said. But I can assist. Assist how? You can't even walk. The drone's beam flared. The glass began to glow, first orange, then white. Sentinels, I hardened. Elias, you must trust me. It forced its broken leg under its body, servos screaming in protest, sparks burst from its joints, something burned metallic and sharp. Stop, I shouted. You'll destroy your core. It doesn't matter, the dog said. My purpose is to protect you, and I will fulfill it. The drone outside let out a low mechanical whine as the cutting beam carved a perfect circle into the window. I glanced at my workbench, tools, wires, and one thing that might actually help, the shock wrench. It was old, finicky, and only held one charge, an electrical pulse strong enough to fry mid-grade circuits at close range. But if I timed it exactly right, the window exploded inward with a blast of steaming shards. The drone hovered through the hole, sharp, angular, and humming with lethal precision. Its targeting lens swept the room. Target acquired, it buzzed. Sentinel lunged. It wasn't fast, more like a broken machine, throwing itself on pure determination, but it slammed into the drone with surprising force. The drone jolted sideways, beam firing wildly and scorching a hole through my wall. Elias, Sentinel barked now. I surged forward, shock wrench raised. The drone whirled toward me, lens burning bright. Too late. I slammed the wrench into its chassis and triggered the charge. A burst of electricity exploded across the drone's body, arcing like lightning. Metal crackled, circuits popped. The drone spasmed violently, hovered for a final second, then collapsed onto the floor in a smoking heap. Silence filled the room. My chest heaved. My hands trembled. I dropped the wrench. Sentinel lay beside the drone, unmoving. Its lens flickered weakly. Elias, it whispered. There will be more. I swallowed hard. Why are they after me? What do they want? Sentinel's voice dropped to a fading murmur. They want what only you can unlock. What only I can unlock. The words scraped out of my throat. Sentinel, what does that even mean? The robot dog didn't answer immediately. Its lens flickered, dimmed, then steadied again, but weaker than before. It was running out of power, or time. I knelt beside it, brushing away the burnt debris from the drone fight. My hands shook. My brain spun in circles. This was supposed to be just another night of scavenging for scrap. Not this, not drones hunting me, not secret projects, not a robot dog calling me by a name ID buried in the deepest part of myself. Elias, Sentinel whispered, listen carefully. They are coming in numbers. This building is compromised. You must leave. Not until you explain what's going on. I grabbed its metal paw, surprising even myself. Please, tell me what I'm involved in. Its audio module crackled static, then a warped hum as if it was struggling to find stable code. You were part of Project Helios from the moment you were born. I stared. That's impossible. I was a kid. I didn't even know what my parents worked on. You were the reason for their work. A cold wave rolled down my spine. What do you mean? The dog's head twitched. A fragment of light flickered inside the lens, like an old recording struggling to surface. Your parents discovered Something. Sentinel paused, and a low electrical whine passed through its frame. Not a machine, not an energy source. Something alive, beautiful, dangerous. They called it the Helios Core. I felt my throat tighten. I've never heard of it. You couldn't, Sentinel replied. Your parents hid you because the core bonded to you. Not physically, at a quantum level. I blinked. That sounds insane, and yet, Sentinel said softly, why do you think they erased your identity? Why do you think the government hunted your family? Why do you think I was ordered to find you? Pieces of memory began to drift back to me, flashes from childhood ID always chalked up to dreams, a glowing sphere in my mother's hands, warmth that wrapped around me like sunlight, voices humming in my head like distant singing, my father shouting, a rushing sensation like falling upward, then darkness. My chest tightened. No, that can't be real. You were 5 years old, Sentinel said gently, but even then you triggered a feedback event. They called it the bloom. It nearly destroyed the facility. Afterward, your parents realized they had to hide you before you were used as a weapon. A weapon. I pressed my palms to my forehead. Every nerve felt electrified. So what? The core is still inside me, or connected to me. Not inside, Sentinel whispered. Waiting. A chill ran through me. Waiting for what? For you to wake it. Before I could respond, a deep rumble vibrated through the floor. The building lights flickered outside. Engines roared heavy, synchronized, official. Sentinel's eye widened. They brought an extraction squad. My blood turned to ice. How many? Sentinel's voice dropped to a mechanical whisper. Enough to take a small city. The floor tremored again, stronger this time, like something massive had landed on the street below. Dust drifted from the ceiling. Sirens wailed in the distance, quickly cut short as if someone had overridden the city grid. They weren't hiding their arrival. They're blocking the exits, Sentinel said. Stairwells, elevators, fire escapes. They'll sweep this floor in under 3 minutes. I looked around my tiny apartment. One door, one broken window, no back exit. There's nowhere to go. There is, Sentinel insisted, but you need to carry me. I hesitated. Sentinel's frame was dented, joints cracked, plating scorched. It weighed more than it looked, but leaving it behind wasn't an option, not after everything it had revealed, not after it had nearly destroyed itself to protect me. I slid my arms under its body and lifted. My muscles strained, but I held on. Where do we go? I asked. The roof. That's the opposite direction of escape. Trust me. The pounding of boots echoed from the stairwell, dozens of them. My door's electronic lock flickered. Someone was trying to override it remotely. Sentinel's voice sharpened. I sprinted into the hallway. The overhead lights flickered from white to emergency red, casting everything in a frantic strobe. With Sentinel in my arms, I barreled toward the maintenance ladder at the end of the corridor. Behind us, my apartment door slid open with a metallic hiss. Heavy footsteps poured inside. They're sweeping your unit, Sentinel warned. 70 seconds until they reach this hallway. I climbed the ladder 2 steps at a time. My back burned, my arms trembled. Sentinel's broken metal edges dug into my skin. The ladder opened onto the rooftop, door sealed, rusted, fused shut. Of course, I slammed my shoulder into it. Nothing. Tried again. Nothing. Sentinel shifted slightly, kicked the hinge, not the center. I stepped back, swung my leg, and drove my heel into the hinge. Once, twice. On the third hit, the metal snapped, and the door burst outward into the cold night air. Nova District stretched before me, neon towers, skylanes, and at least 5 black aerial carriers hovering above my building like predatory birds. Searchlights swept the rooftops. They already have air units on us, I whispered. They won't fire, Sentinel murmured. Not while they need you alive. I didn't know whether to feel relieved or terrified. Cross the rooftop, Sentinel instructed. There's a maintenance glide path connecting to the next building. I saw it, a narrow metal beam stretching from my rooftop to the one across a dizzying 8-meter gap above a 20-story drop. You can't be serious. I am a machine, Sentinel said. I do not joke. Boots pounded up the maintenance ladder behind us. No choice. I ran for the beam. Wind roared past my ears. My foot hit the narrow metal bar. It wobbled. For a split second, my balance vanished. My ankle twisted. I nearly fell, but I tightened my grip on Sentinel and forced myself forward. Halfway across the beam, a spotlight snapped onto me, blinding, white, merciless. Voices shouted from behind. The carrier engines thundered overhead. Elias, Sentinel barked. Jump. What? Jump. With no time to think, I bent my knees and hurled myself off the beam toward the other rooftop. For a split second, I was flying. Then I missed. My hand slapped the ledge. Fingers slipping, Sentinel tumbled from my arms, clattering onto the rooftop above us. I dangled over the abyss, legs kicking, nails scraping concrete. Elias, Sentinel screamed. Hold on, but my grip was failing, and below me nothing but the neon-lit darkness of the city. My fingers slipped, concrete dust crumbled beneath my nails. The city glowed below me like a vast electric ocean ready to swallow me whole. I was falling. For a single frozen second, gravity had its hand around my throat. The wind roared past my ears, and my vision blurred into streaks of neon. Then Elias. A flash of blinding gold exploded above me. Something warm and possibly warm wrapped around my wrists. Not metal, not hands, light. It lifted me, pulling me upward with the strength of a giant and the gentleness of a parent. I rose in a smooth arc and landed hard on the rooftop, gasping for breath. Sentinel lay a few feet away, sparks leaking from its cracked chassis. Its lens glowed brighter than I had ever seen. That I gasped, crawling toward it. What just happened? Sentinel's voice trembled with glitching static and something else brayed. You awakened it, the core, I whispered. Yes, Sentinel replied. It reacted to your fear, your need. It protected you, as it was always meant to. My hands shook. I stared at them, expecting to see them glowing, burning something, but they were just hands. Yet, I could still feel it, a warmth under my skin, like sunlight humming in my bones. Behind us, the extraction squad burst onto the opposite rooftop, weapons raised. The aerial carriers lowered, forming a tightening noose of steel and light around the building. A voice boomed from a loudspeaker. Elias Voss, you are in possession of restricted quantum intelligence technology. Surrender immediately. My real last name, the one I hadn't heard since childhood. Sentinel's breathing, if you could call it that, grew uneven. Elias, you must go. I shook my head violently. I'm not leaving you. Its lens flickered. My core is failing. I cannot travel far. But the Helios energy within you, if you focus it, you can escape. I don't know how to use it. You already did. Instinctively, blinding spotlights locked onto me. A dozen rifle lasers painted glowing red dots across my chest. They will kill you, Sentinel said, after they extract what they want. The warmth inside me pulsed once, twice. Like a heartbeat, my vision sharpened. The world seemed to slow. Elias, Sentinel whispered, your parents didn't create the core to power weapons. They created it to choose. To choose what? I asked, voice breaking. To choose who would inherit its light. The squad took formation, preparing to fire. Sentinel looked at its lens softening. You were never meant to be a weapon. You were meant to be a sunrise. The warmth surged through my chest. My fear ignited into something fierce, brilliant. For the first time in my life, I didn't run. I stood. Energy burst from my palms, pure golden light erupting like a solar flare. It swept across the rooftop in a tidal wave. The squad flew backward, weapons melting in their hands. The carrier's engines sputtered and died, dropping from the sky like stunned birds. Silence followed. Then wind, then my own heartbeat. I collapsed to my knees, trembling. When I looked up, Sentinel was watching me, fading, but proud. My task, it whispered, is complete. No, I choked out. Don't shut down, please, Elias. Live. That is all your parents ever wanted. Its lens dimmed. I held its metal head against my chest until the last spark faded. Above us, the sky flickered, city lights reflecting off drifting particles of golden dust. The Helios Core pulsed gently inside me, a quiet promise. I wasn't just Elias Stone anymore, or Elias Voss, or the boy who survived the past. I was the heir of a son that no one could cage. And this was only the beginning.